Welcome to the office hours for COIS ADMN 1620, Introduction to Information Systems. We find ourselves getting towards the 2/3 mark here, almost exactly, in terms of content. So we are in Module 4. We're on the last week of Module 4. So we've got a few things due. We've got all the practices that are related to Chapter 7, Chapter 8, and Tech Guide 3, and the quizzes related to the same chapters and Tech Guide. And then we have the second post on Discussion 3. So if for some reason that you haven't done your first post on Discussion 3, which is entirely possible, please do that as well as your second post. There will be a flat 10% penalty for being late on your first post. But all that stuff, the 3 practices, the 3 quizzes, and Discussion 3 are all due tomorrow at 11:59:00. So please do get those in. Things are going quite well in the course overall. We've got, I believe, 36 to 39% of the mark is in. So when you look at your My Grades, it's out of 36 to 39. The reason I put the range is because it depends whether you've done the practices or not for this week. So if you've done all 3 practices for this week, your mark's out of 39. If you've done none so far, it's out of 36. And you can do the math. If you've done 1, 2, 3, 37, 38, 39. And the reason I mention this right now is that we are approaching the course withdrawal date, which is tomorrow, I believe. So that is, for some people, a very important milestone where you need to make a decision as to whether you're going to withdraw from the course or continue. So you may only have 36 marks for the 36%, but that means that there's 64% left. Everyone can certainly pass the course still, even if they haven't done anything at this point. But it's going to be an uphill battle, and a lot of people are going to need more than a 50 or 51. They're going to need a 60, a 65, a 70, depending on what the requirements are in your particular program. If you are in that situation, you should probably, unless you can make the decision on your own, go or no go, you should talk to an academic advisor. Now, I was talking last week to warn people to get ahead of the curve, because I'm sure the academic advisors are really, really busy at this time of year. So you may, at this point, we're Thursday night at 6 p.m. You've got until tomorrow. You may not be able to get to talk to an academic advisor at this point. So in any case, I'm not encouraging anyone to drop, but what I would say is that if the trajectory that you're on isn't going to change and you're not doing well in the course, it's better to drop now in most cases than it is to have a failing mark hit your transcript. So that's what the drop means, that the attempt does not show on your transcript. Okay. If you get past this Friday and you earn 22% in the course or whatever, that's the mark that goes on your transcript, or the related grade associated with that. So anyways, that's a little bit depressing to talk about that, but I do like to put people's options out in front of them. So that's very important. The other very important thing, and we are a couple hours past the deadline, but I'll discuss that in a second, is that you need to have chosen where you're going to write your exam at this point. So I did do an announcement. I did talk about this in the office hours. There's 3 choices of where you write your final, or how you write your final for this course. The first one is Peterborough. It's in the gym. The second one is going to be some classroom in Durham. And the third one is going to be online using our Examine service, which is a proctored online exam service. You should have designated that by now and figured out where you're going to write. If you did not make a choice, you are by default going to be expected to be in Peterborough. Okay, so if we're a couple hours past that deadline now, If you have, for some reason, not responded in the 2 weeks that you had to respond to the email that was sent out by Trent Online, I would send an email to online@trentu.ca. I have no control over this. This is not something, even if I wanted to help, which I do not, even if I wanted to help, I couldn't change where you're writing the exam. So that is entirely online at trentu.ca, and they are the people that can help you with that. Now, if you choose to do Examity, what's going to happen, so that's the online proctored service that I just spoke about, you're going to have a computer or a desktop or something, some sort of computing device. You're going to have a good internet connection. You're going to have a webcam and a working microphone. Okay, those are the requirements to do that. And then as of probably Monday, somewhere around Monday, Online at Trent is going to send out an instruction package for you to schedule your Examity exam. So if you're going to write it online, it's kind of a two-step process. One is to choose online, which hopefully you've already done. The second one is to sign up with Examity if you haven't already, and then book your appointment to do your exam. Okay. Otherwise, otherwise you're writing it in person in Peterborough by default, but I'll be proctoring in Durham, where I usually am. So I will see if you've chosen Durham as where you're going to write. My recommendation, as always, is if you have a choice, I would write it in person. If if you live in Peterborough or close to Durham or close to Peterborough or whatever, write it in person, because it's a whole lot easier for us to help you out with something that goes wrong. And what I mean by that is, if you lose your internet connection and you're writing online, that's your problem. That's not the school's problem, okay? If your webcam fails, if your laptop crashes, if your, whatever calamity happens to you that you can't recover from, there's no assistance at our end for that. You're responsible to have functioning equipment, a good internet, all those sorts of things. We have no control over those sorts of things. On the other hand, if you're sitting in the gym in Peterborough writing the exam and all the lights go out, well, we know that. We're there. We know what's going on. We can give you the extension in time or whatever. Your pencil breaks, whatever. Whatever happens, we can hopefully help you out if you're in person. Again, the online option works for a lot of people really well. It allows you to be anywhere in the world that you want to be, as long as you have that internet connection. So I think that's what I want to talk about as far as the final exam goes. The other minor thing, and people get a little concerned by this, and I understand it, is when you're in My Trent, in the top right corner at the home page, it says notifications and it has your exam schedule there. It will not change. It is not dynamic. It will not change no matter whether it says, for instance, in this course, it says Wednesday, April 19th, 2023, 7 p.m., location gym, duration 3 hours. If you have already chosen Durham or you've already chosen online, it will not change. It's not dynamic. It's really only there to tell you the time of the exam and the default location of the exam. So don't get worried if you've chosen a different location. Presumably you've gone through it and there's been some verification, you'll be fine. There won't be a big problem there, okay? But yeah, that notification is not going to change. I think I'm going to skip over unless anyone here live has any questions about the mandatory requirements to be able to see the quizzes. I've talked about that every single office hours. So if you're watching this afterwards, and you don't know what I'm talking about and you haven't seen any quizzes so far in this course, you probably want to watch any of the previous office hours where I've talked about it, starting with the very first office hours when I went in great detail about the requirements, the mandatory requirements in order to get to see the quizzes. Do take a look at your grades, your My Grades, and remember that the My Grades don't rely on the percentage it shows. because if you haven't handed something in, it doesn't change the denominator. So if you missed a discussion that was worth whatever 6%, and you just had no entry and we didn't enter a 0 for you, then that won't be added into the denominator in the fraction. So know that it's the mark that you're seeing is out of 36 to 39. And whatever mark you've got there is the number towards your final percentage. So if you've got 30, you've got 30 out of 36, you've got 30 out of 39, depending on whether you've done the practices or not. That's the mark you have. Okay. Are there any questions? Is there anything that I can help anyone with? We're we're at the end of module 4 at this point. Like I said at the beginning of the course, module 1's a little different. We had some different requirements there, but modules 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all the same, essentially. So we will be getting into our last discussion for next module. That module will come online Saturday morning at some point, and you'll be able to continue on your path there. We will, in the office hours, start talking about the final exam once we get a little closer to that final exam. Okay. If you is the last discussion going to be the same as the other ones? Yeah, it is in terms of, in terms of the format of it. Yeah, it'll be some sort of a news topic, and then there'll be 2 questions for you to discuss on it. Same requirements in terms of the number of words, in terms of the citation, in terms of the references. It's exactly the same. There's no real surprises there. Hopefully, and I'll add a couple. I keep adding topics to that. Hopefully I'll find a couple interesting topics that are nice and current or reasonably current that relate to the course. So it should be very, very similar to what you've seen in the first 3. Okay. If you don't have any further questions, guys, please get on with your evening. I know this was a very short office hours, but I do appreciate you taking the 15 or 20 minutes to sit in, to ask questions, or to at least hear what's going on in the course. I think it's very valuable. I will post this as soon as I've processed the video. If you want to talk to me privately, please just stick around as everyone logs off, and we'll go into separate little discussion rooms, breakout rooms, and I'll be happy to deal with your questions privately. Thanks. Have a great day.